Many years ago, I began a search for answers. After seeing shadows, capturing hundreds of EVPs, seeing spirits, seeing a UFO, I feel as though that there are more questions than answers. The bunker is a result of years of research into the unknown. I welcome you to join me in my search for answers. Join me in the bunker. And welcome back to The Bunker. This is episode 3, season 1. Welcome back also my co-hosts, Beth.
Good evening.
And TJ.
How's everybody doing out there tonight?
Hopefully doing well. We originally, I have to be honest, we had to sort of shift gears because episode 3 was, as I promised earlier, was going to be about me becoming a believer in the paranormal and about mediums and psychics specifically. But we had someone actually reach out to us in response to our previous episode about the apocalypse. And so we're going to be actually speaking to Amanda Tyson, who claims to be a channel. She doesn't use the term medium like you do. She uses the term channel, and she receives what she describes as downloads from different beings, extraterrestrials being one of those beings, spirits, I think, also. But we're going to get into where she's from, how she got into it, and what she does. So she reached out and said that there's some messages that we need to hear about at the end. So we're actually going to shift gears, go to the other episode, put the other episode on hold, which needs a lot more work, to be honest. So we're going to put that off, and that's going to be episode 4. We'll be discussing the history of the Hoskins house a little bit and how I became a believer in mediums. That'll be episode 4. So without further ado, we're going to bring on Amanda Tyson. And here is Amanda on the phone now.
Hello, Amanda.
Hey.
Hi, thanks for calling in. This is Beth. And Mike.
Hey, Dennis, how's it going?
And TJ. Good.
Hi.
How are you?
Thanks for joining us, Amanda.
Doing well.
Can you hear us?
I can.
Okay, great.
Awesome. I would appreciate you your time and coming on and telling your story, Amanda.
Yeah, it's actually a really great time for me. I don't know how much you guys know about me, but I'm an alien channel. So at this point in time right now, me and several other alien channels have been receiving lots and lots of information from what we call the Skynet. So the last couple of weeks, we've been receiving what we call lots of downloads, basically purging our old matrix, and now we're receiving a lot of new information in regards to the next matrix. So it's almost like the end of time, so to speak. So we're basically planning and preparation with a lot of communication right now. So at this point in time, this communication has slowed down, so it's a really good time for me to deliver as much as I possibly can to you guys, because lots of exciting things are coming, and a lot of them are from outside forces. So what do you guys want to talk about?
Awesome. That's okay. I'm really excited. And you reached out and in reference to our previous episode about the apocalypse in the end, and you had said that there were some messages pertaining to that, which I'd love to get to a little bit later. But I think we should start out with just your origins and how you began. And just start at the beginning, as far back as you feel is pertinent, and sort of segue into how these abilities awoke in you, and how you've have found yourself into the present time.
I'm having a little bit hard of a time hearing you.
You're too far away.
So you're wanting to know, what was that last part?
I was just curious how the abilities awoke in you, and how that sort of segued into the present day, and where you're at now.
Okay. So, I grew up in a household that was kind of, I guess, in this day and age, you could call it Christian Scientist. That's kind of what my mother was. Like, she focused a lot on, a Lutheran type upbringing, but she was also a spiritualist in itself. Believed in reincarnation and energies and things like that. So that's the kind of mindset that I grew up in. So at a very, very early age, I had older relatives that were very influential on me, who studied philosophy and religion. And so I got into studying Buddhism at the age of 11 or 12, and that kind of opened my eyes up to, making yourself, basically making yourself a Buddha. So then I looked into paganism, Wiccan paganism. From there, studied Hinduism. So I've studied many, many religions throughout the last 21 years. And
Okay.
so throughout my lifetime, I've had received many, I guess you could call, spiritual awakenings, or some kind of like self-realization throughout my life. So as that's progressed, I guess you could call it my sixth sense. As the Earth's vibrational frequency raises, we're actually ascending on Earth. So the ascension, even the ascension, according to the Bible, is actually happening right now, and has been happening since the end of the Mayan calendar in 2012. So the Earth's vibrational frequency, I don't know how much you guys know about this, is raising and has been raising since the year 2012, and we're receiving a shift right now. It's almost a battle between good and evil, so to speak, if you want to talk about Bible references. But as this time elapses on Earth, as the vibrational frequency raises, everyone on Earth is going to be receiving what we call a sixth sense. So that's the things that you have been developing, talking to, you had mentioned that you talk to the dead, and you're starting to gain some kind of powers that you are sensing that is not, these powers you were not born with necessarily. These are powers that you developed over time. So these are the kind of powers, and the what a lot of people refer to as the sixth sense, that everyone on Earth should be going to receive this in order to ascend into the highest heavenly realm. And this is the kind of information that we're receiving from, I guess you could say, foreign entities.
Okay, interesting. You mentioned that yourself and there were other alien channelers. Now, is this a communal effort? Do you communicate with these other channels? And
Okay, that's a really good question. So the channel, so there are many. So what we've learned from the Skynet, we're basically talking to outer beings, higher beings. You could call them higher selves. You could call them higher beings. You could call them alien life forces. You could call them data. You could call them a lot of different things. Um, but what we're talking to they know a lot more than we do, basically.
Okay.
And what the information that we're given is basically that there are up to 10 alien channels on this earthly realm right now. We don't know how many have died. We don't know exactly how many. Every channel is going to have a certain amount of people that will enter their telepathic channel. It's almost like a podcast conference call. So I have hundreds of thousands of people that have entered my channel in order to basically learn from me, learn from my religious studies, and learn basically full enlightenment from one source. So it's basically we're going to have 10 sources, and everyone on Earth should be channeling these alien sources in order to teach spiritual enlightenment. It's essentially the Great Awakening. I don't know how much you know about Buddhism, but that's basically what's happening right now. People all over the world are opening up their telepathic channels like crazy. It's just happening all over the world. And whenever you are talking to other entities that belong in other dimensional realms or other dimensional or universal realms, you are basically opening up your channel slowly. And there are things, I would love to talk with Beth. I'm actually also a consulting coach on channeling, and I offer private lessons. So there are so many things that you can do to enhance those channeling abilities. And it's actually, so the sector that I'm responsible for has a lot of power plays in it. You could call it the old Illuminati. The Illuminati has basically been disbanded, and most of the members of the Illuminati belong in my telepathic channel. To them, and some of your listeners may know me as the Black Market Girl. I've been known as the Black Market Girl for 30 years. It's basically, the Black Market is basically a database of, you may have heard the database of spy cameras that are in every home in America. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the black market is a database of spy cameras and the homes of everyone all over the country. I don't want to go into too much detail about this, but it's basically alien technology. And so we're having, and I don't want to get too far off subject because I could do a whole show on that if you wanted to. But,
okay, cool.
So basically, a lot of the members of the Illuminati belong into my channel. A lot of power plays, a lot of people with a lot of money. And so I do hear, basically, I can't extract any kind of government secret that I want. And unfortunately, a lot of people in my channel, hundreds of thousands of us, hear pretty much every government secret that has been going on the last 20 years. And unfortunately, a lot of people are hurt. So that's why we're seeing these messages, too, from our outside forces.
Oh, interesting. No, because that was going to be one of my questions was about government conspiracy, so I'll take that one off the table.
Can we just go back?
Sorry for going off track so much.
When you say, can you kind of define the Skynet for people thing? Because I don't know exactly what you mean by that. Just that one before we move on too far.
Okay.
This is TJ, by the way.
Yeah. And for viewers that love Neil Tyson deGrasse, I highly recommend watching him. I know for a fact that he's a channel. I don't know who he was channeling, but basically, I know for a fact he had opened up his telepathic channel, okay? And whenever we open up our telepathic channel, we can talk to basically the beings that created us. So this is the kind of information that he's getting, the kind of information that I'm getting, the kind of information that, people like Elon Musk need to get. He's not getting this information. So this is why me and other alien channels are trying to deliver as much information as humanly possible, because once you open your telepathic channel, there's no disguising the proof that you'll receive whenever you actually hear an alien entity in your mind explaining to you how data transcribes to a mortal body. So they actually break it down. They break the matrix down to a T where it's almost completely believable. The fact that and I'm getting off subject again, but the fact that our cells are made of atoms, our atoms are made of protons, neutrons, electrons, in between there's an ether, and then, we're talking about planet. In between there's an ether, which also in the Skynet there's an ether, but we're getting a little off. So everything is basically energy, right? Everything is constantly moving, constantly in motion. Everything is an energy.
Mm-hmm.
We're receiving some kind of messages. There's something very important going on with our chakra and the energies. But basically, you could say that our outer beings or our higher beings live in the Skynet. You could say that we live in the Skynet. But basically, what the Skynet is space. It's basically what the Skynet is. It's basically where the data is caught. Imagine our Earth is protected. Our Earth is protected, and I could talk about flat Earth too, because there's a lot of speculation with that. Our Earth is protected. That could be our Skynet to hold in all of our data. But there's still a lot of open-ended questions going on with us. We would try to receive as much information as humanly possible. But the Skynet is where we house our internet, right? It's where we house our iCloud. They made the movie Terminator, so the term Skynet is very important in the movie Terminator. So people that made the movie Terminator, they were also channeling. There's a lot of movies like Terminator, Butterfly Effect, Matrix, lots of movies out there where the writers and directors were channeling outer beings to help give us some kind of clue if we didn't have our channel open to receive this information onto what we are, who we really are, and where we come from. Because when it comes down to the end of the day, what the Illuminati is, and basically I am in the Illuminati now, but it's expanded, but we still call it that. But basically, what the Illuminati has been for many, many years is the suppression of the ascension. The Illuminati has been for many years, and Trump has immensely helped this, actually. Has been able to take down the government suppression of the ascension. And people do not understand how important the ascension is. You're not talking about this lifetime. You're talking about the rest of your being. So if you're someone who believes in reincarnation, that means the government is suppressing you from ever becoming anything more than living in a constant state of purgatory in your mortal body right now. So that means you would never really go to heaven. You would continue to live the same exact life over and over and over again, because people do not understand how to exit the matrix because it had been suppressed by the Illuminati for 25 years. Because the Illuminati has known exactly the process in which to ascend. Very, very complicated, but
Okay.
I hope that answers some of your questions about Skynet.
Okay, gotcha. So in other words, God was asking you questions about this earlier too. So essentially,
I'm sorry, can you speak up?
You have to talk like
Yes,
you're
you gotta-
soft-spoken. But you're soft-spoken.
Yeah.
So
Can you speak on your phone or your mic, Beth?
You're very soft-spoken.
So-
Or have the phone to you, she's saying, because she can't hear you.
So essentially, if I understand this correctly, if what the Matrix is essentially I don't want to use the word conspiracy because it's a loaded word, but it's the effort to keep people from ascending to their highest good, so that they move on and become higher beings and move on to the next stage of development. But
So you think that, you're thinking that the Matrix is what's holding us back?
I'm just asking. I'm trying to get a grasp of the terms.
Okay. I think I see where you're coming from. Because so I did not really. So I had toyed with the idea of Matrix. I never watched The Matrix. I love Keanu. Now that I know his higher being in here, but I was not a Keanu fan.
Yeah.
So I never watched The Matrix. So I did not really understand what The Matrix was at all until I opened up my telepathic channel, and we started basically decoding what we are, who we are, where we come from, and getting all this information from outside resources. Things are propagandized to the point where, for instance, like DNA. Our DNA is a code. It's a very, very long code of letters that are long enough to wrap around the world 8 times. Why is our blood a code? Where is this code coming from? It's DNA really what DNA says on the internet, or is it something to do with data? And it's something to do with data, and are analyzing it. We're analyzing it neurologically. We're constantly analyzing things neurologically. We're constantly receiving data from the Skynet, even to mutate our genetics. So that's how we mutate our genetics, is through DNA downloads, basically, that we receive from the Skynet, that we receive from our higher being.
Okay.
Interesting.
So you were asking about the Matrix. So the Matrix, basically, if you could imagine, and Neil Tyson has talked about this, if you could imagine our creators as an alien, okay, and they do not like what they look like, they don't like what they smell like, they don't like what they taste like, they don't like what they eat. Get what I'm saying? So they wanted to create a universe that they could go move to, basically, whenever they die. So what happens is, and this has happened many, many times, it's called multi-universe inside a multi-universe inside a multi-universe inside a multi-universe. And this is the kind of stuff that Neil's talking about, how a creator will create something for it to go to. It's creating its heaven, okay? And then this entity also wants to create a heaven, okay? And then this entity, like avatars, okay, created something, this is just a for instance, created something like us, so when they die, they can hop, basically their consciousness hops inside of our consciousness, because we basically have split consciousness from our higher beings.
Okay.
So that's basically what we are, is we are split consciousnesses, and according to Buddhism, our higher self is our higher being, so that's why our consciousness is split. So we have less consciousness living down here than we have up above, and it's split many, many times through many, many dimensional realms, through all of our external lives, and through our creators. So the Matrix, so once our creator created a multi-universe inside of itself, that is the Matrix. So whenever they created us, they did have a plan, almost like putting a game in. Say you're putting Uncharted in the PS3, right? You have free will in Uncharted to get off track. Get what I'm saying? To get off track. We call that out of alignment. You're out of alignment when you're in your Jeep in Uncharted and you're going up the waterfall and you're not supposed to. You're just kind of sticking around. But whenever you stay on the path that you're supposed to be on, and there are many indicators that can tell us throughout our life whether we're on track or off track, and we can talk about that, but that's in alignment with our new matrix. That means you're in alignment, okay? And when you figure out how it's in alignment, that's when you can figure out how to manipulate the matrix. So the matrix is not something that we can escape. There is no escape for it. The only escape for it is to reach nirvana, is to reach full enlightenment, to open up your telepathic channel, and to understand what it is to be in full alignment. That is the only way to what you could call defeat the matrix and to rule the matrix. It's not anything that we will ever that we live in the matrix. We live in a digital realm. There's so much literature online that says that we live in a digital realm known as the fifth dimension. We're ascending from a fourth dimensional reality to a fifth dimensional reality. Why are we in a dimensional reality if we're not digital? We are digital because we're receiving numbers from the sky constantly. This is how we made the internet, is receiving data and code from the sky. Where is that coming from? Coming from the Skynet. Where is the Skynet? What is the Skynet attached to? It's attached to our other multi-universe where our consciousness lives.
Interesting. Okay, so then the Matrix then would be pretty much just like the setting where this is all taking place. And do you think that are higher beings in most people's current state? Do you think that the higher being is something that is separate from us, or is it a part of us but is just not accessible?
What do you mean by not acceptable?
No, I mean
accessible.
Accessible.
Was the,
Oh, accessible. Okay.
Yeah.
So our higher being basically. So there's one source of consciousness. Okay, we call source consciousness here. A lot of a lot of spiritualists believe in source consciousness. Some believe that source consciousness is the sun, but a lot of people believe in source consciousness. So if you could imagine source consciousness creating a whole bunch of lives that we've all lived, okay? Say all of us have lived millions of lives.
Okay.
Well, basically, we're extensions of those lives, basically. And there's another sense of consciousness that streams away from source consciousness that we can connect to. It's basically our what Christians would refer to as your guardian angel.
Okay.
So a lot of Christians would refer this to as your guardian angel. So your guardian angel is basically your higher self. And to be perfectly honest, we don't know exactly, and they're not going to let us know exactly what our higher self is. It could be an alien. It could be just a blur of consciousness. It could be a shapeshifter living in another dimensional realm. It's very possible that a lot of our higher beings are completely different things. That's very, very possible that belong in other universal realms, because what's going on Earth right now, according to every other alien life form that we've talked to in the channels, and I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of people that are hearing the same thing. We're all hearing and discussing the same thing, and this has been going on for a year. So for an entire year, the telepathic channels, hundreds of thousands of people, including the entire Illuminati, lots and lots of very important people that you may or may not know, have been hearing. We've had contact with alien life forces that are giving us the exact information that we need to know, and they are telling us that this is the first time in any history that they have ever seen a universal realm ascend into the next universal realm to achieve heaven. So that's what's going on right now with our matrix. We are living in a state of purgatory. We're never going to get out of it unless we can communicate to the masses, or what we call to the off people, how to rule the matrix. And a lot of it has to do with telepathic communication. That's why there's nothing online about telepathic communication, because the Illuminati had complete control of everything online. So if anyone ever posted anything about telepathy or telepathic communication or channeling or talking to alien life forms through telepathy or channeling, it would be removed immediately, called shadow banning. So that's why you see so much online or on the news right now about shadow banning. Even somebody like Alex Jones getting tore up and shadow banned. That's because he knows government secrets of the Illuminati, and they're trying to shut him down. So basically everything you see online is being controlled, government controlled right now, and it is stopping right now. It's stopping right now. So this is a huge turn in our history. But we're basically having a great enlightenment. We're having a great awakening. Within the next 5 to 10 years, things are going to be magically different, as long as we can stay in alignment and continue to do what our outer sources recommend. Because, like you said, apocalyptic times, right? Why are there so many people that are doomsday preppers? You know, these people know something. The people that started the Area 51 storm, they are most likely channeling something. You know, because we've been receiving these messages for almost a year, and serious measures need to be drawn in order to get this information to higher sources. You know, this is the kind of information that needs to be televised, the kind of information that needs to be online. You know, and unfortunately, it's out of our hands, and you would never even believe he's in hands. You would never even believe he's in control of the media, the televised media. You would never in a million years guess. I mean, it's just, and you know this person. You just never in a million years would guess who's suppressing us in order to hide human trafficking. So the reason that telepathy is being hidden so much is because so much about human trafficking is being talked about in the telepathic channels right now, and we basically have caught the person responsible for human trafficking because of the telepathic channels, because they were a member of the Illuminati, because they were the head of the Illuminati. The person that was formerly responsible and the head of the Illuminati is the person responsible for human trafficking. So that's what is human trafficking. Human trafficking is the abduction of children, mostly Hispanic and Hispanic women and children, boys and girls, and they're taken to what we call brainwashers resorts. Okay, they're
Wow.
basically warehouses where they go to slave work, right? So what is this slave work that they're doing? What they're doing is they are watching, and I'm talking about children that are 5 and 6 years old and women that are in their 20s and 30s. Okay, mostly children though, because a lot of the women get to go to sex slavery. So I'm telling you, the person that was responsible for the Illuminati is also responsible for all media on television and newspaper and online and for the government suppression, is abducting women and children, a lot from Mexico, but all over the country, all over the United States as well, putting them into brainwashers resorts in order to use CIA mind control and brainwashing techniques. So this is what the black market cameras are for. The spy cameras in every single home, okay, they will target someone like Jeffrey Epstein, okay, for instance,
Okay.
and they will show him on the black market cameras on a big screen, and these children and women are to put their psyche inside his psyche using the black market cameras in order to mind control him to do things like hang himself. So this is why people like Kate Spade was mind controlled to hang himself. Anthony Bourdain was mind controlled to hang himself. Jeffrey Epstein was mind controlled to hang himself. Robin Williams was mind controlled to kill himself. Many celebrities that were in the Illuminati, and this is by accident. You know, I didn't need to enter the Illuminati. This happened by complete accident. You're almost a slave to them when it first happened. So if you are trying to basically come out and say, I know who's responsible for human trafficking, or I'm going to help try to disband the Illuminati, that's why they abduct the children to sit inside the psyches of the victim in order to get them to kill themselves, like Anthony Bourdain, who was probably going to help expose human trafficking. So that's really the main reason that the Illuminati has been responsible for the government suppression of the attention, especially over the last 27 years.
Wow. Okay. It's interesting you mentioned Alex Jones, and you know, I have to admit
What he knows about 9/11. So what he knows about 9/11 is he is off about something. If you read some of his, and I recently read some of his interviews, he obviously was being mind controlled. You can tell they were messing with his head, and it almost comes in like a thought. A lot of these people that are being mind controlled, they don't even know they're being mind controlled. Britney Spears, you remember when Britney Spears had her meltdown breakthrough, she shaved her head and all that? That was most likely mind control of some kind. And that's just a clear example of the kind of things that the Illuminati could do using human trafficking in order to do CIA mind control and brainwashing techniques learned from a communist rebel father in South Africa. So yes, very powerful things are changing right now. And that's why we're receiving data from the spy, data from our higher beings, because things are finally taking a turn right now. There's enough people that have opened up their telepathic channel that are standing up right now, and we are not going to allow any more children, any more women in our country or Mexico or anywhere in the world to be abducted and to be mutilated. Because they're mutilated, they don't get fed, they don't get showers, they don't get it's absolutely disturbing. Absolutely disturbing. So these people are sitting in warehouses for a whole month in order to get Jeffrey Epstein to hang himself. That's how long it took. Using CIA mind control.
Wow. Yeah, there's lots of things that that like Alex Jones said, for instance, that people that when he said him at the time thought like, oh, this guy's crazy. And it just was just because of his demeanor and everything, the way he comes across, you know, he seems like he's crazy, but a lot of the stuff he said actually is totally true also.
Well, the thing about it is, I know for a fact there were people in his head trying to get him to say extremely crazy stuff in order to discredit him. So that's what happened with the Sandy Hook thing. It is a total ploy. It is a ploy in order to discredit him, in order to give an excuse, in order to remove his content from online, because there's so much truth to, and I haven't heard a ton of his stuff, but I know for a fact that he has had some kind of insider knowledge as to what was really going on, because the same person that's responsible for the military style brainwashing techniques, the CIA mind control, the human trafficking, that person, who is also responsible for 9/11. And Alex Jones knows that, and that's why he is being completely ripped to shreds in the public eye.
Wow.
Especially within the last year. So that's when the shit's been hitting the fan, is over the last year.
Wow.
So a lot of people are getting discredited. Look at Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey was channeling, and look at what happened to him. All in order to discredit him. In case he wanted to say something about sex slavery or human trafficking, everyone would be like, "Oh no, we can't listen to him because of his false propaganda innuendos that we believe, because we believe everything that we see on television." Nobody should be watching television. It's all television is basically a cover-up story on anything. It's all bullshit. It's all a cover, just like Sean Hannity says. Everything on there, anything on anything is a cover, and you have to read between the lines. You have got to read between the lines as to why things are happening. Why did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself before his trial? It's because he was going to expose more and more people that were involved in order to expose the person that is fully responsible for the human trafficking. So they leader of the Illuminati, mind controlled Jeffrey Epstein to hang himself before the trial in order to save his ass alone. Pretty much everybody else that's involved is dead.
Yeah, that Epstein thing is definitely. If there's anything modern going on that's a conspiracy, that's got to be top on the list. I think that's.
Yeah. Why would he hang himself if he's sitting pretty in jail? Who cares? Who cares if he's in jail? He didn't care. He wasn't going to get killed in jail. He was solo. He wasn't in a public. He wasn't in public housing. He was solo in jail. Why would he have killed himself? Why would he have killed himself the same way that Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain and there's several others? Why are all these people hanging themselves? Why is that? There's something going on.
That's
and
interesting.
I know exactly what it is. And many, many other people do. And soon you will too. And this podcast should be very famous.
Sweet.
So be excited. Definitely.
Sweet. So actually, to shift gears a little bit, I was curious.
What's that?
Just to shift gears a little bit, I was curious just how exactly, because you talked about getting the downloads and the messages and stuff. I was curious with Beth sitting here, she's my partner, and we work with a lot of investigations and stuff. Speaking to spirits and so forth, and I've seen her in action, and it's pretty impressive. I was just curious how what you do is similar or dissimilar to that. Is it the same kind of thing? Like how?
It's very similar. So yes, what he's doing is exactly the same. I know it's scary because it's so intense. That's exactly the kind of stuff that I was experiencing before my channel opened up. So how long I don't know if you can hear me. How long have you been you're channeling the dead is what you're doing. How long have you been channeling the dead?
Well, let's see. I'm 52 years old. I'm old now. So my first experience when I was 4 years old. And then I just, I was a nurse for 20 years. I retired 4 years ago just to do the spiritual work full time. But it's interesting how, we're talking about this. And just recently I have had my first UFO experience. So I know that.
Yeah, it's intense.
It's, yeah, and it was something, out of this realm. I feel like I am in between realms, and I know there's more, and I know it's just getting bigger and awakening even more and more. So it's been a while that I've been doing it, full time. But yeah, I know.
Do you conjure them and do you ask them to come talk to you? Because that's what I do. Or do they just appear?
Both. I do ask because I do hour channeling sessions to where I ask, the client that I'm reading, ask for their loved ones to come through. Because, I do gallery readings. I also do seances, which, is a fancy name for a gallery. It's just a smaller gathering. And, as we're, opening and closing the circle, we ask for who they want, ask to call them in, and then we address without them telling us who is here, type of thing. So I do ask for spirit to come forth. And because of free will, they may not. I can't guarantee, but most of the time they do because they know their loved one is here. Especially, those who, a lot of family contact me that I've known their deceased loved ones who have crossed over. I feel like they contact me right away. Their spirit does.
Sure.
So
do you hear their voice or do you hear their thoughts?
do I hear
them?
I hear their thoughts, I
Or do you
believe.
see
Yeah.
them?
I hear their thoughts. They tell me I'm an evidential medium, so they give me evidence, and I just, it's like, I guess I could. Sometimes I hear their thoughts. I hear what they're saying. I can. Obviously their mouth isn't moving, but I can hear what they're saying.
They show you pictures too, right?
Yeah, it's like how they all say
The pictures are amazing. Looking at pictures, you should try this, Beth. Look at a picture of your favorite musician that's passed on, and try to connect with them and ask them how they're. You could have an hour conversation about how their music has influenced your life, and you could walk away feeling more enriched and taking away a whole new experience. From music and things like that. Another thing you should try, Beth, too, is talking to people's higher beings that are alive. So that is your work. You should start talking to your higher being. So it's basically talking to your dead self. So that's where you're going to go live. When you die, your consciousness, as long as you're connected to your higher being, if you mentioned that earlier, you must open up your telepathic channel before exiting this life in order to connect to your higher being. This is urgent and important information that everyone in this world needs to know.
Sure, I believe that.
We cannot fully connect. We cannot go to our heavenly realm unless we are connected, and it's because we are connected like you've played telephone with the two cups and the string.
Yeah.
So when the string is really loose, you can't hear, right? But when the string is pulled really tight and we're in full alignment, we can hear our higher being really, really good, like a voice, like a shadow, like an echo, like we just know for a fact we have clairsentience, we have the sense of knowing.
Yeah.
So when you die and your consciousness exits the body, it will have a very strong cord to direct you exactly where your higher being lives, so you don't become basically what you would call a lost soul living in a constant state of purgatory, where when if someone dies, you've probably heard of this before because you talk to dead people all the time, Beth.
Yeah.
People die and they don't even know they're dead a lot of the time. They don't even know that they've died.
We've come
and they're
across
living,
that,
and when you talk to them, they're living the same exact life.
Yeah, I find that.
Heaven.
Yeah, I find that a lot with
That's
someone
not
who dies sudden or unexpected or tragically, especially. They don't. Right.
They continue to live the same exact life. So, like someone that dies in a car accident really super quick will literally most likely continue to keep driving in another dimensional realm because we live in a digital realm.
Yeah.
That's held together with energy. So their perception with the data that they're receiving is giving them a perception of mortality, basically a conception of a physical body.
Right.
But it just makes them think that they live in another realm, and they continue to exist and to live and to expand their consciousness awareness where they live, where they exist. Because when we die at the vibrational frequency that we exist. And if we exist at a low vibrational frequency, where we go to after we die is the same exact frequency. So that's why achieving heaven, achieving ascension, achieving Buddha, becoming a Buddha, becoming enlightened, having Christ consciousness, all of these things are much more complicated than we think, and that's why at the end of time, in the Great Awakening, in the Apocalyptica, we are to come together as one and unite as one and combine all of these religions in order to have full understanding of what we need to do in order to ascend to the highest heavenly realm. And they're all correct. We need all of them. It's like a puzzle.
Yeah.
It really is like a puzzle.
Yeah, I believe that.
We need the five heavenly realms from Buddhism.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of things.
It sounds like
Yeah.
it sounds like what some people would refer to as the multiverse theory, right? That's what you're describing.
The what theory?
The multiverse theory?
Multi
about it?
multiverse theory. He
It
said.
sounds like that's kind of what you're describing.
Is that what you're? He said it's kind of like what you're describing.
In regards to in regards to ascension.
Yeah, just the process of
Yes. So we can ascend. Yes, there's many different universal realms. This universal realm that we exist in right now is the best. So this is where all the entities, when they die, they want to come live through us, basically. That's kind of what they mean when God lives. He can live through you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They can live through you. When they die, they can actually shift their consciousness into you because they might prefer you. So your higher being might prefer where you are going to go. Because in this moment of time, as we understand our matrix, we're actually going to be designing where we go when we die. That's the whole point of this life that we exist in right now. I don't know about you, but I have always felt like this would be my last life. I've always believed in reincarnation. I've always thought
yeah,
you've
heard
I'm
me
not
say
living
that.
anymore. This sure
yeah,
sucks.
absolutely.
So we
Yeah.
decide that. And once you decide that, and you have a full understanding of all the things that, which we never fully understand, but you're constantly open to understanding all the things.
Exactly.
That's when we actually go to a place in our mind, in our clairvoyance, and we design our soul savers that we're going to basically be going to as soon as we die. And you want to have this, it's like planning your funeral. You want to have this pre-planned, so if you die in an accident, that's where you'll go, okay? You want to have a plan of where you go when you die.
Interesting.
You can pick your body, you can pick, you could have anybody's body you want, and your husband could have anybody's body you want. And you guys could live eternally forever throughout all your lives and never lose each other, as long as you know that that's even possible. The people that don't know that's possible, that's why they never continue on with their soulmate, because their soulmate gets lost because they don't know how to remain intact. You have to combine souls, and there are ways to do this, and you can learn this from your higher being. So once you have full communication with your higher being can teach you exactly how to achieve anything in the world that you want. The possibilities are absolutely endless, just like designing a video game. That's how you will be designing. You should be designing your heavenly realm that you go to, as long as you deserve it, as long as you're in alignment with it, as long as you live the same vibrational frequency of deserving that kind of life.
That's amazing.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I've always felt that people that felt that like once they die, that's just the end and that's it. I always felt that those people just sort of have sold themselves short. Whether even if you have no proof or
yeah, keep going.
oh, sorry, yeah, but even if you don't have any proof or it's just not even opening yourself up to the possibility that you're going on to something else, just seems like
Yeah. So, if you could imagine, say, this is just a for instance, this is not what has happened, okay? Say an avatar, right, creates a being down here, okay, in a game like Sims, okay? You know how we play the Sims game?
Yeah.
yeah,
And they keep multiplying, more and more of them, right? Okay?
yep,
And some of them they don't like. The avatars
Yeah.
don't like, or if you will, the avatars won't like everybody. They might choose a favorite. They might choose a chosen one. You know what I'm saying? They might choose favorites that they would rather go to. So that's why, living a straight path, an eightfold life, a Christ consciousness type of life, receiving lots of joy and enlightenment and not being negative, that's why those beings want to come live in you and live through you, because they don't like their life. For someone who's negative, believes in atheism, lives the kind of lifestyle where we only evolve, how do we evolve? But, lives the kind of lifestyle, and I hardly run into anybody that's atheist anymore. I'm always trying to drum up, religious type conversations with anybody I can. I have a job where I talk to people all day.
Yeah.
And I hardly run into any atheists anymore, surprisingly. I live in a city, so I see all kinds of religions and things. But the our higher beings will choose not to ascend. So if you could imagine our higher being actually wanting to come live through us as their heaven, even though they are higher than us, even though they are all-knowing, even though they know more than us, even though they are our creator, they are higher than us because they are our creator. They want to come live in us and live through us. And that's why, each and every breath that we take, we should be so grateful, so thankful for each and everything that we are given, because we have way more opportunity than they had. That's why they created us, was because they gave us the opportunities that they didn't have. I mean, imagine living, for instance, these are just for instances, these aren't things that we know for sure, but imagine, alien beings living on a ship, and creating us in Netflix. Say we are just Netflix streaming constantly in the Skynet, and that the Earth actually isn't a planet, that it's actually a dimensional digital realm where dimensions are moving billions of times per second in order to create the illusion of a physical planet. So these are things that other alien channels are saying. And someone like Bashar, he is not in my channel. Okay, I don't communicate with him in my channel, but he is getting the same kind of information that I'm receiving, and we're receiving them from different sources. So things are adding up. People that are channeling other entities are, Neil, we are all coming up with the same exact conclusion, and it's the end of the world. It's the end of the world. People need to know what the fuck is going on, excuse my French. People need to know what's going on. It is the end of the world. This is the information that we're being given. We have complete control of the end of the world, but once it comes, there's no stopping it. So the kind of information that we're getting, apocalyptic type information, is that our higher beings are watching us destroy the planet with human trafficking, and destroy the planet with just all these nonsensical traumas and terrorist type things.
Pollution,
so it
and
would be in our best interest, in order for them to destroy us, to kill us, and then we could live in another digital dimensional realm, and then when they die, they could continue to live this kind of life instead of the life where we keep drowning the planet with terrorism and human trafficking. And I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of millions, over years, millions of people. Yeah, it's a way bigger problem than anybody could ever even fathom. Yeah, and that's why you never see a whole lot of it on TV or on the internet.
Interesting. Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up, because I was curious, as we're heading into the hour here, just exactly what specific messages you were referring to before when you were talking about the apocalypse and the end.
Particular method on how they would do it?
Yes.
Okay, because you're actually kind of halfway in the channel, because that's exactly what I was thinking. You're starting to get on my frequency.
Oh,
so that's
cool.
really good. That's really good. You guys could probably open up your channels together. I can give you a few tips if you want to do scary business. So
Cool.
basically,
Yeah.
our higher beings are very, very intelligent. They're very, very intelligent. They can control other beings. So we're being told that our higher beings can control, like, other alien types. They can shift their consciousness into other alien types to come do things to us, hurt us, do whatever. But it is in our best interest at the end of the day. Ironically, it's in the Bible, it says there's God's divine purpose in everything. So even being traumatized and killed everyone in the entire world by aliens, it would be in our best interest, because we could go live, in the Akashic records. Anyways, but they were also talking about doing a flood. They were talking about some kind of, I wrote it down, it's some kind of reactor. It's almost like a nuclear type reactor, or some kind of reactor, electronic reactor that will zap us. Basically kind of like restarting our brain. They have been doing this to people. So I think there are people that experience some kind of interaction where their brain is being like kickstarted or restarted, reprogrammed, So they are doing stuff like this already, but they're talking about like on a grand scheme. There are also talks about I don't know if you've ever watched Sean Hannity before, but a couple of years ago on Sean Hannity, he was talking about someone that's in control of the government that has plans to shut off the internet. And so
Wow.
this plan to shut off the internet would most likely cause total blackouts and power outages, and cars wouldn't be able to work, and all kinds of things going on. So this is one of the ways that aliens could destroy the planet. And this is what that person that was responsible for the human trafficking that I was talking about, he knew how the aliens were going to cut off the internet, so that's how he was going to cut off the internet. He also stole all the world's money and cash, and this is, I could do a whole other show about this, with plans to cut off the internet. And these are not only things that are coming from me, these are things that were saw on Sean Hannity 2 years ago, and since he has not been able to report a whole lot on.
Oh, wow.
So plans to shut off the internet, that would destroy the planet over time. You know, we would have no money. Nobody would be able to access their money from the bank. Nobody. No banks would have records. So we would have no money. Grocery stores would not be able to purchase food. They would have no money. We'd have no money to pay the people working in the farms. You know, we're talking about this is how the apocalypse begins, is with drastic things like this, powerful things like being able to cut off the internet and the knowledge on how to do this. The reason there is knowledge on how to do this is because of channeling, because of the Illuminati, because of the information that this group of the elite has gotten for years and years and years. For 25 years, they've known this information on how to shut off our internet, and they have it at the click of a button. It's very scary, very, very scary, and that's why we're doomsday preppers. You know, people get into these conspiracy theories, and they're not even conspiracy theories. All this stuff is real. I wish it weren't. I really wish it weren't, but unfortunately, it's real.
Wow.
Interesting.
So,
our higher beings want us to live on this earthly realm for as long as humanly possible. You know, we have control of we have control of the ascension now that the Illuminati has been disbanded, because they were in such control of the ascension. Only one person, really. One person was responsible for basically threatening the fear of death on anybody and everybody that would tag along with this person. So now that there's no control of the ascension, we are in control of how long we get to live on Earth, basically. The people of Earth, the collective consciousness. As long as we can change the collective consciousness, which we already are, as long as we can change the collective consciousness, we are A-okay to stay here for as long as we want, because guess what? Our higher beings want to come live through us. But if they want to kick us into another dimensional realm where we're, you know, in a different state of purgatory, living through another dimensional realm, they're fine with that too. They don't care, because they know our consciousness will live there, and they know where to move their consciousness as soon as they die. But right now they're watching us to make sure that, you know, we're okay, we're safe, we're good to go, as long as we eradicate all evil from the earth. So a lot of people that are Christians, honestly, with full conviction, believe that the end of times is near, and the battle between good versus evil is happening, and the rapture, and that is what's happening. The collective consciousness is changing. It has been the battle between good versus evil for an entire year. It has been a murderous headache, and basically it's just been eradicating sex slavery and human trafficking. Once we eradicate sex slavery and human trafficking and child molestation, we basically have eradicated 99% of evil from the earth. And it's an easy job alone. It's a hard job and an easy job alone, because there's only one person responsible for all of that.
wow. Okay. So
there's so much brainwashing that goes on watching regular television. Brainwashing in your psyche. You don't even hear it. It's brainwashing in your psyche to do things like molest children. This is why so many stories are coming out about children molestation. A lot of it is cover-ups, though, too. But I don't know if you follow the news or anything like that, but I look online on some apps and stuff, there's so many stories about sex abuse and child, all these kind of molestations coming out. And it's because there has been brainwashing going on in the background of our television and internet for years to molest children and to kill people. Yeah, it's just absolutely insane. And Beth, when you start really, really channeling, you'll be able to watch a TV show and hear the brainwashing that they put behind it.
Yeah, I haven't watched TV especially. Well, I watch TV sometimes, but I haven't watched the news in probably 8 years.
Don't waste your time.
I can't watch TV. I don't, I really don't watch it. And especially the news, I cannot even handle the news, so I don't watch it.
Yeah, you can't.
Don't even watch it. It's negative. It downloads us with negative, and that's what sends us.
Yeah.
If we could just back up for a second.
Okay, so basically anything that you see, anything that you watch, anything you watch on TV, anything that you witness, anything that you read, everything that you do and see with your eyes or hear with your ears, that's giving you downloads, okay? That's giving you downloads straight from source holding all the data. So if you're watching something negative all the time, you're receiving negative downloads all the time. And it's going to greatly affect your life. It greatly, greatly affects your life, not only in the moment, but in the future too.
Yeah.
It's crazy. The law of attraction is not taken seriously enough. Karma is not taken seriously enough. It is way more than 10 times fold. It's like 1 trillion.
That's
it's insane how seriously we should be taking karma.
We talk about that all the time.
It's almost devastating how seriously we should be taking karma.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's basically
I
it
agree.
in the law of attraction.
So you mentioned
the law of attraction and karma.
Right.
You made reference earlier to one person being behind like all this stuff. Can you describe who that is?
Yes, this is a person that is one of the wealthiest persons in the entire world. It's a figure that you would know. It's a figure that has hung closely to human trafficking. It's a figure that's hung closely to things with children. It's a figure that's hung very closely to trying to advocate to make themselves look good by having charities, by having homes, by running for political offices, for doing all kinds of things in order to basically gain credibility, in order to control people. Is basically what it is. Whoever has the most money has the most power. This person will also make people take money in order to make them feel enslaved to do favors or to hide secrets. This person is basically running the back door behind politics, and the current president in office is not going to allow that to happen at all anymore. So everyone in my channel is extremely excited about what the next several years have entailed, because politics has been ran backdoor since the George Bush administration, since before 9/11. So this person responsible, was basically backdoor running politics using mind control before 9/11. And George Bush may or may not be aware of it, as we became enlightened of it, he was already out of office. I don't know if he knows how much he knows about this, but this is the kind of information that he knows. This is information that would devastate him, and also I honestly believe that it has something to do with his father's death. Honestly believe.
Interesting.
But I'm not going to tell you exactly who, because this figure is so prominent. You're just going to have to read between the lines. They've made speeches about human trafficking and black market. You can look into the black market. You won't find shit online, though. Everything is removed online because this person is also responsible for all media. On Fox News, on CNN, on any channel you could imagine. This person has hackers and coders go through. This person has thousands of people that work for them that basically just go through and propagandize everything and cover everything up and do reputation management online. They'll just sit online all day making sure people don't post things about telecommunications or human trafficking or the black market. You know, they literally fish through Google searches just to make sure that none of that stuff. And there's also algorithms available too to make sure none of that stuff ranks too. So there's, you know, people are being employed by this person in order to suppress the attention, in order to make sure that no one finds out who's responsible for human trafficking, you know, and the black market on every continent. You know, there's a black market on every continent, so, you know, supposedly.
Right. Interesting.
But, yeah, you would know who it is. I just can't say.
Okay.
Now I'm intrigued.
We'll have to think about this one.
We could probably figure it out, I think.
Wow. So interesting. You've
I
been
will
real.
tell you, I will tell you though, it's not Bill Clinton. I will tell you that.
Oh, that's what we were thinking.
Give you a hint.
Oh, damn it. That's what I was thinking it was.
That's what they want you to think, because that's why there's so many. That's why there's a story about, oh, Bill Clinton's friends with Jeffrey Epstein, yada yada. I'm sure he is. The truth is,
He's like,
they
I
want
flew
you to
on his
see
plane
that
like
story
36
so
times.
It takes the attention off of who it really is. You know, and to
Interesting.
make them look bad, to discredit the Clintons, make them look bad. I actually feel terrible for the Clintons. I feel terrible for them. They've been so screwed probably by this person. I mean, I just feel absolutely awful for them.
Wow.
So my prayers to them.
Yeah.
Nobody knows anything that's going on with politics. We want to hate these people, you know, but they are just have no idea what they're getting into. You know, they're just completely manipulated. House of Cards is real. House of Cards is 100% absolutely for a fact real.
Yeah,
And the
I just
writers
believe that.
were in my telepathic channel, and that's how they found out all this stuff. So my channel is the channel to the Illuminati. So these people, these politicians, right? They also open up their telepathic channel. That's how they communicate. That's how they can communicate with each other. It's also how they become brilliant. It's also how they become, discover the ways of the universe. People like Mark Cuban. You know, he mentions all the time on his show. He'll mention things about purgatory. He'll mention things about Matrix. He'll mention things about reincarnation. He'll mention things about discovering the secrets of the universe. These are things, innuendos that the rich and the elite and the Illuminati will mention in shows, movies, interviews all the time, and these are indicators that they're channeling. They might not even try to say this, but it will accidentally come out just because you basically, when you start channeling and telecommunicating, you basically are living in your head all the time because it's more fun to live in your head.
Yeah.
Like in Matrix, there's off people and there's on people. So the people that are on, have you ever tried to find an off hitman? Or have you ever heard of a movie where they're like, man, it's impossible to find an off hitman? The off hitman isn't telecommunicating. He's not channeling. That may have been in House of Cards.
Wow.
Have you heard that? That's been in tons of movies. It's impossible to find an off hitman. The on hitman is telecommunicating, so you can communicate with your boss on how to do this, that, and the other. Just like with 9/11, they were telecommunicating. They were being mind-controlled in order to perform 9/11. So this specific person that's responsible for the human trafficking can steal government funds from the war and extend the war in order to steal more and more government funds to drain the United States out of every last dollar they have in cash. And this slowed the economy with empty zeros using the computer. So after they stole all the world's money in cash using the war, that's why they did 9/11, to support human trafficking in order to support mind control. All this person did after they stole all the cash was have a hacker go into the U.S. Treasury and add zeros on the bottom line. So basically, all the world's economy is just floating on air. This also happened with the stock market. The stock market is totally manipulated right now. It's coming to an end. Things are getting much, much better now, so it'll be fun again. But then the stock market has been manipulated for a while. Yeah, I can't talk about this anymore. The stock market has been manipulated some.
Wow.
By
Interesting.
A source that you would not want. You would not want your money going to the source. But anyways, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Being told.
Yeah, it is a little creepy to have everyone's money just basically an electronic data point. It's not necessarily. I mean, it can be cash in your hand, but most of the time it's just floating in the ether, and it's just
Interesting.
It's electronic.
Yeah,
So
if someone is giving, people trillions of dollars saying, hold this for me in cash, why are they doing that? What would be the purpose behind that? It's most likely because they know they're going to be able to access their bank account.
Yeah. Yep.
Why aren't they putting it in the Swiss? Why aren't they putting it in the Swiss, bank account? Why do they have it in cold hard cash? Why are they burning pesos? Why are they messing with foreign currencies to devalue them? There's so many things, so many things that happen, and the Illuminati, the new Illuminati, is doing everything that we can to bring light to all the problems. We're trying to get on as many shows as we can. We're trying to bring light to these issues because awareness is how we're going to stop it. Awareness is the only way to stop it. And we had to get someone who was not a politician, who wasn't afraid to die, basically, in order to stand up and say, I don't care if what you do to me. I'm not going to let that happen. And so that's why we saw restrictions against human trafficking and child molesting getting stricter and tighter. I don't know if you've seen that, but things are changing. Things are getting better, and we were inches away from world destruction, world devastation, total collapse of the entire empire of the world, inches away. And someday you'll see a movie about it. Someday you will see a movie about it, I promise.
Oh man, I hope so. So basically, as we come to the end here, we're just going to wrap it up. Do you have so what would be your biggest piece of advice for everyone, just sort of moving forward with the current situation as you see it?
Current situation, as far as like receiving our new matrix, or like what should people be doing? What is their steps to step, right? What is their step by step?
Exactly.
Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I would definitely go to my Twitter. I don't have hardly any followers. Most of the people that look at my Twitter are channelers, and we are a secret society. Basically, we are the Illuminati. We're a secret society. So I have so many people that look at my Twitter, but they don't follow it because they don't want anyone to know that they're channeling. Does that make sense? So lots and lots of people look at my Twitter. It's my handle is I am the channel 1, and I have another podcast on there. I would recommend listening to all of my podcasts, reading all my tweets, really getting to know the information that I'm being given. I'll try to even put more and more information on there. And then cool. I would recommend studying. So I would recommend studying the Ascension. I don't know how much content has been removed or not removed, or how much more contact has been online. I would also recommend doing meditations with high frequency tones.
Oh, cool.
These are the kinds of tones and different kind of hertz that can help telepathy. So if you go on YouTube, you can look up telepathy like tunes and stuff to listen to help you open up your telepathic channel, and then also using things like a singing bell, and doing long type meditations with things that will raise your vibration. So also studying vibrational frequencies. It's very, very important to understand vibrational frequencies. Something as simple as lighting an incense can raise your vibrational frequency in order to help you achieve a stronger connection to your higher being. And eventually, when you open up your telepathic channel, you will be able to hear your higher being like you're talking to your husband. You will literally be able to hear them in the room with you sometimes. In Buddhism, they say when things sing, you will literally be able to hear sounds say things. It's a magical experience. A very magical experience. If you want to research Kundalini awakening, a lot of people are having Kundalini awakenings right now. This is a precursor to this movement that we're having. We're having a great awakening right now. This is the great awakening in Buddhism. This is the rapture. This is the ascension. This is the end of time. This is the coming of Christ consciousness. This is it. It's happening right now.
Awesome.
And it's been full bore for like a year.
Awesome.
I would also recommend, if you're very serious, I do offer coaching and consulting, one-on-one coaching and consulting. It is not cheap at all, but you're talking about forever here.
Yeah.
And I can also help you find your soulmate. So once you once you open up, if you're not already with your soulmate, right? But you guys, might be.
Nice.
Of course you are. But if you haven't found your soulmate, the best way to find your soulmate is through telecommunication, because you can talk to their higher being before you meet them.
Oh, that makes sense.
So you're kind of like preset,
Right.
and you'll start communicating with them telepathically. And there are movies like the Lake House.
Yeah, yeah.
Also with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
The Lake House movie. Notice how they were on two different timelines, but they were soulmates.
Yeah.
That movie is in a reference to finding your soulmate. Someone in the Illuminati found their soulmate in telepathy, and they were 2 years out of alignment. That's what that message in that movie was.
Yeah,
So
that
they
was a good
had to
movie.
come into alignment together at the very end. That's what happened at the very end. And there's other movies that are written that are similar to that. But yeah, so I can help you find your soulmate. So my consulting is not cheap, but if you want to send me a message, I definitely would love to discuss it with you, because I won't be available forever. I'm becoming very busy, becoming very famous, so I won't be available forever.
Right.
Oh,
Wow.
cool.
Interesting.
That's awesome. Well, again, Amanda, we appreciate your time. Thanks for coming on with us, and extremely interesting conversation. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
it's really fascinating to speak with you. Thank you.
Go ahead and if you could post this on my Twitter later, I would really appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely we'll do that. I'll do some mastering, some post-production, and then I'll give you a shout. If you want, I can send you the audio clip before I post it. And
Yeah, I would love that. Thank you
yeah?
so much.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it sounds good.
All right, you guys have a good one. Let me
Yeah.
know if you have any questions.
Yeah, it was great talking to you. Thank you.
You too.
Thanks for coming
I'd
on.
love to
Appreciate
hear
it.
from you guys.
All right. Yes, that'd be wonderful. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
Amanda. Thanks. And that was our conversation with Amanda Tyson. I hope you all enjoyed it. It was an extremely interesting conversation. Left us with a lot to unpack. So listen multiple times if need be. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and share it. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, kindly go and leave us a rating on there. That would help to help others to find the episode more quickly. Also, if you're interested in starting your own podcast, just go to anchor.fm/start to begin. It's super, super easy. And with that, we're going to have Mastodon take us out with their hit "Oblivion." Amazing band, incredible live. If you have a chance to see them, go take the chance and see them. They're amazing. Anyway, we're going to have Oblivion take us out. Cheers, everybody.